What's up? What's up? Welcome to another market recap. Today is May 13th, 2025. So, I guess to kick it off, to kind of like summarize past few days for me, Friday, um, I traded, like actively sat in front of the charts and for about half of the day until I had something I had to do, which pulled me away. So I traded for relatively like maybe 3 or 4 hours. And by traded, I mean I kind of just watched setups occur and nothing really gave an entry except for one thing on Friday. And it all completely lined up. Everything looked like it should. And for whatever reason, I just didn't execute the trade. So I forget now what pair it was. I think I could figure it out though. Let's go look at my journal. It was a Kiwi Yen. It was a CBO, micro time frame CBO. It gave a limit order entry and a 5-second entry. It was an ACB on the 30-second, a CBO on the 2-minute, and an IBO on the 10-minute. So everything was there. I think there was maybe one negative. No, even had a bullish engulfing on the 1 hour. So everything was there for a solid setup, and I just hesitated on taking the trade, which is kind of like, it's been my Achilles heel with trading for a long time now. I'll watch like really solid setups occur, and I'll watch a ton of crappy ones too, right? Like tons of setups all day long. I'm just watching setups occur. And I'm waiting for relative perfection. It doesn't have to be perfect, but even sometimes when a trade that's put in front of me that is perfection, that has everything in alignment, doesn't really have anything going against the trade, I'll still find a way to like talk myself out of the entry when it's time to enter. It's one of the reasons I kind of switched to limit orders, honestly. So the limit orders kind of took that emotion, I guess fear of being wrong out of the equation, because I would have to set the limit order when I built the watch list, and then it is what it is. But since I've kind of gone away from using limit orders this month, kind of noticing some of those old habits creeping back in, which is interesting. So that trade ended up playing out for a quick 2R. I think it even played out more than that. Like they could have pushed it. I think it had room for like a 4R kind of target. It was really clean price action, and it played out for 4 or 5R, somewhere in that range. So, but last week I had one trade. So I was negative 0.29 for the week. I just had that one trade we talked about last week. But that Kiwi Yen trade on Friday would have put me pretty close to my weekly target, depending on where I push the target. So likely I would have just left it at 2R and taken the 2, but at least would have put me in profit for the week. And I had the opportunity in front of me, and I just didn't execute. So this week, I kind of like, my mindset is like, if there's a trade in front of me, I have to take it. Like, take it. So I started Sunday building just kind of a normal daily watch list, which is targeting like a 1 hour run. And I took this pound Swiss trade. That watch list essentially led me to this MBO that I took Sunday night around like 8 o'clock or so my time. If we go back in time here, we can actually just go back and see how this played out here. So pretty clean price action, honestly. I didn't have many qualms with this. I was kind of watching it develop as the night went on. But on the 1 hour time frame, you have like a pretty decent resist level, whereas previous support, resistance right here. So now it's back up in that area, retesting it again. I have deceleration in this triangle pattern on my 2-minute. It kind of correlates with the 10-minute as well. So everything I really look for when it comes to trying out this MBO strategy. So an enter on a 2-minute break of the trend and us with a stop above the highs for 2 to 1 at a minimum. And I had room on the like 1 hour chart before I got to any kind of real support, which would be kind of be these previous highs, right? Or the pivot or the 1 hour 50 or something like that. I had room before all that. So I like the target. I liked everything about the trade, honestly. It gave me an entry and I didn't hesitate. I executed it like I needed to, but it didn't play out. So I took a break even on this trade because I'm still managing these off of my 30-second time frame, right? So if you blow this up, it might be a little easier to see. Let's shrink that down, right? So where to go? Let's go to here. Let's copy this bad boy, throw it in here. All right. So price breaks, it broke before on the 30-second, but it took us a minute on the 2-minute. It breaks on the 2-minute. I enter. Price initially pushes down. At this point, I'm still full risk. And then price starts to trail up this way. So at the same time that it's doing this, I had drawn a fib level in here, right? So this is starting to become like a CBO play, if not like an ACB style play, like a pullback, right? If you're trading micros. So I'm looking at it from that understanding, and then I'm seeing the trend kind of drawn in here, a nice kind of double top with a break. So on a break of this trend, essentially, and a follow through, I go ahead and move my stop to essentially P2 to break even, clipping these recent double top highs. So now I know there's a risk by managing it this way that I could choke a position if I'm targeting a larger kind of pip movement. Most micro time frame trades are like 5 to 9 pips or so. This was a 14 pip position, so could be a little different. But the way I kind of see this 30-second trend right now is just, this is like one wave, and this is kind of a wave 2 pullback. So I'm really targeting wave 3 right here. So a clip above the highs, if price were to reverse and then break those highs, it would now invalidate the trade for me, is how I looked at this. Because I really like this kind of clean trend that it broke right here. So at the same time, it's obviously breaking the 30-second 50, which is usually my P1 rule. So P1, P2. In this case, all these MBOs can't really do P1. I mean, I could pull off a little bit risk, but I'm already kind of stop clippy with my stop. And this pair had a little bit of a spread for me of like 2.5 pips or something like that. So I wanted a little bit of room here. Hence why I didn't completely clip immediately this point right above. I put the stop just to break even to give it a little bit of kind of a buffer if price were to retrace and get close to these previous highs. But price kind of just bobbed around for the next, I don't know, what is this, hour or so, and then eventually clipped me out for a break even. Ultimately, this trade it never really played out. So my aggressive management worked out well here. It prevented a full loss because price really just ran. Price kind of broke that level, and then once it broke the level, you can see right here, it just, I don't know if you guys can see. You see right here, it just shot and accelerated pretty much on a breakout play, and then just continued on. So that's my only trade for the week so far. So just break even, no big deal. Yesterday I traded, but there wasn't anything setup wise. I don't think. I could check my journal here real quick. Yeah, I didn't have anything really on watch yesterday, except for a dollar CAD trade. I was watching dollar CAD the majority of the day yesterday. If we flip back here, $2 CAD. And This would be, I was looking at some other positions here. But if we go back in time, the dollar CAD position I'm referencing is right here. And there was a kind of a trend line drawn in right here. At the same time, like, I've been watching dollar CAD for a number of weeks, mainly because if you flip to a monthly time frame, so a daily move, this is a CBO play, right? So I know that this pullback is in alignment with a higher time frame strategy. So my bias in a higher time frame is short due to a CBO on a daily run perspective. So knowing that, I'm looking at this level primarily and starting to look for shorts, like at any point I can get them. And this opportunity presented itself, but it was after 1 o'clock my time, and I really wasn't paying attention to the charts anymore. I would say this was an error on my part. I knew price was in the area. I mean, it had been in the area for the past, 2-3 hours. So a potential short could have been at any point. So I likely should have sat in front of the charts and continued trading, but I have my window and I wasn't really in my window anymore. And so I was done. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this one. But if we if you just hit play here, you can see price broke. You would have been able to position size like a short position. Well, realistically, something here, a stop below there, and then like just a 2-to-1 target, 20 pip position or so. And yeah. And this trade ended up playing out. It played out pretty nicely, honestly. So would have pulled back and then eventually pushed to the target. But that would have been an MBO. And now price has kind of retraced throughout the day, formed a double top here on the 1 hour and is broken down again. So I have this on watch for tonight for a daily IBO, which is a really clean IBO, in my opinion. It fits with the higher time frame bias of your daily. So a daily CBO and a 1 hour IBO, right? It's a 10-minute CBO. So there's multiple different strategies at play here. A nice double top, clean break of a trend. You have a lower low, lower low, lower low. Pretty much everything's there. Just need to pull back at this point to value to take the trade. But a lot of dollar pairs are pretty interesting tonight, but dollar CAD is by far my favorite. But for the rest of today, at like 7 a.m. today, to start the day, I was watching an MBO on Aussie CAD. And this trade never really broke down to give me the entry I was looking for. And then it eventually broke the level. So, I mean, it never really pulled back to even present any type of entry. It gave this kind of, I wouldn't really call this a break right here. I mean, you really, like, the body of the candles is not really giving you a solid, true break of the trend line. They're kind of just rejecting it is how I was reading it. So I wasn't going to enter off this, and then price kind of retraced. If price had come down and kind of like closed below this level, then I likely would have taken this trade, something position sized. If I could position size 2-to-1 before the 50, so it would have been tough. But I was watching this, but it never really presented an entry, and then price just kind of ran. CPI I think came out at like 7:30 or so, and a little bit after that, and then markets opening and stuff, like everything just went kind of crazy this morning. And then I was watching at 8 o'clock Euro Pound. and never really pulled back so I could get into the trade. So pretty clean, kind of CBO, IBO on CBO on the 2-minute, IBO on the 10-minute. It would have been a ACB on the 30-second if it would have pulled back. So all 3 time frames in alignment, kind of like what I would love to see in a perfect world. Nice bullish engulfing candle on your 1 hour. It's really everything and is in alignment. You know, you have a clean break of a trend line, you have MACD divergence, you have a double bottom. It's essentially very similar to that Kiwi yen trade I decided not to take. I hesitated on taking last Friday. So, but price didn't pull back to allow me to get into the trade. So, yeah. Plus, this is a pretty small position size. At a 4-pip position or so is probably as low as I could possibly go. But given it's a pound pair, I still can't risk full size on this trade. So that's a tough thing that I'm starting to run into as well this month with trading micros is I increased my risk this month fourfold from what it was. And due to that, I'm now running into issues trading a lot of pairs that I have on this list. Like this is the list of pairs that I'll scan every hour looking for micro time frame trades. And I used to be able to trade all of these pairs pretty much without issue. But now I'm running into issues where I'm only able to risk half my normal kind of size on some of them. And some of them it's less. And then some of them I can risk my full size. But then the commissions are astronomical. Like I was looking at a dollar CAD trade today and the commissions on that trade would have been over a third of my risk, which is kind of wild, which doesn't make trading micros feasible at that point. Because that means if the trade plays out for say 1R, it essentially is only going to be a 0.7, 0.65, I think 0.65 R return. But if the trade loses with the commissions the way they are, like because they're super high commissions because of how tight the pip size, the position size is, so the lot has to be a lot larger. But if the trade loses, then it's a full loss would be like negative 1.35 R or so. So that's not a profitable kind of trading strategy, right? So it's just interesting. It's something new I'm running into this week with upping the risk. So on this kind of daily time frame, I've always traded with a higher risk. I lowered it to play with trading micro time frames the past couple of months. And now I'm scaling back to my full size, but I'm learning I can't actually trade my full size on micros, which is a little annoying. I can trade my full size on MBOs though. So it just depends. It depends on the movement and price. Like a 4 or 5 pip position might be out of the question for me here in the near future. I might need like a minimum of like a 10 pip or so position. Or I might just need to find a new broker. Not really sure. But either way. And yeah, that was pretty much my day. That Aussie CAD MBO didn't present an entry. This Euro Pound was probably one of the cleaner trades I saw today. It did not present an entry. And then the majority of the day was just dollar pairs or euro pairs or a lot of stuff just kind of running and never really presenting any kind of breakdowns or stuff to trade. Like this Aussie dollar example, price is just running. I was watching this throughout the entire day looking for potential reversals or potential MBO kind of opportunities, but most of all of the dollar pairs looked pretty similar. They all just kind of ran in a dollar weakness kind of position. So, yeah. At one point, this was the dollar CAD position I was looking at as well. I guess I forgot to mark this one down. Yeah, I did. This was at the 10 o'clock hour. Yeah, so I was also watching this dollar CAD at 10 o'clock looking to enter a CBO on it. And it didn't pull back enough for me to be able to get to the trade. So, but it was also sitting right at the 1 hour 50. So not like a perfect trade, but again, I have a pretty strong higher time frame short bias on this pair. So yeah, that was my day. And then the rest of the day, not really anything. So sitting up for one trade and a break even currently for the week with 2 days down. I'm more than likely will be trading kind of like daily trades tonight. Hopefully able to get into this dollar CAD, get a quick kind of like 2R off of it. Or maybe 4R. I'd like to position size a 4-to-1 trade on it. It just kind of depends how things develop. So either way, that's my past couple of days. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. See you.